Are you making bad decisions with your business finances? You're doing your own bookkeeping, and you know you shouldn't be doing it because you don't know what you're doing. And you also could be losing money on your taxes because you're not good at bookkeeping. Today, I'm sharing with you 5 mistakes that you should never do in your med spa. I'm Dakota Grady, and I'm the accounting tax doctor, and I'm all about helping you to master your business finances. Let's dive into the conversation. If you're a med spa owner, an esthetician, or an interpretation entrepreneur, this episode is just for you because I've been helping clients for over 5 years with their accounting and taxes in their business, and I have proof that, hey, these are some things you should never do in your business. And if your bookkeeping is messy, drop it in the chat below. Like, why are your books messy? Did you mess them up, or did someone do it for you who you thought was a professional? Drop it in the chat below if your books are messy. First one is stop trying to DIY your bookkeeping. That's right. Trying to do your own bookkeeping. In fact, I had a client recently in North Carolina. She hired me to do her taxes for her. Well, she sent me her P&L, her profit and loss, and she did her own bookkeeping. And it was a mess. Now, this is what she said. She said basically like she didn't know what she was doing, and she know her books were a mess. I know people tell you to do your own bookkeeping when you start your med spa. That's cool and all, but if you're making money, you can afford to hire somebody. Do it today. Like, do it today. Stop trying to DIY things, save money, cut corners, because what you're doing is really making a bigger mess for you and your bookkeeper or your accountant, whoever you hire. Because for me, I had to go into her QuickBooks account and unravel all the messiness that had been created because she's trying to do her own bookkeeping. I applaud her for that, but I know from experience that nurse practitioner entrepreneurs don't know about bookkeeping and taxes. They were trained to be nurses that serve their community by helping people heal. My job is to help them to get their books in order so they can have good financials, so they can run their business and not worry about the numbers. So you're tired of paying taxes to the IRS every year and I always feel like you work hard and can't keep your money when it comes to your business? I got you covered. I got a free resource for you. 10 tax secrets that can help you to save money in your business, not pay all your hard-earned income to the IRS. Drop it in the chat below, taxes, and I'll send you the free resource today. So the second thing I see people do is not do quarterly taxes. What is quarterly taxes? So basically, if you make $1,000 or more in your business, the IRS requires you to make a quarterly estimate. In other words, you're estimating how much you think you're paying taxes by the end of the year. Well, if you're doing it every quarter, you want to estimate how much you think you'd pay for the quarter. So I recommend doing about 25%. So if you make $1,000, you would send the IRS 25% of that, which is $250. All right, so I've told my clients to meet with me for a mid-year review, for example, or to send their quarterly estimates. In the end, they'll pay more in taxes because they aren't paying taxes through the year. So if they do that, they aren't paying taxes through the year via quarterly estimates. They'll probably pay a penalty for under withholding taxes from their wages because some of them may have a job, or if they are 100% in their business, they may pay a penalty because they're not doing enough quarterly estimates. Make sure your bookkeeper is teaching you these principles about quarterly estimates. The third thing I see people do in their business as a NP, esthetician, or a med spa owner is they don't have a business bank account. They have a business, they get it set up, they have clients, and they're running their business using a personal bank account. Bad idea. Here's why. When someone does your bookkeeping for you and you're running your business through your personal account, they're going to have to go through personal transactions plus business transactions. So it makes it more messy and murky. Instead of doing that, you should have a bank account set up specifically for business, only having income from the business and expenses going in and going out of that account. That's it. Now, it's fine for you to fund your business with personal money, but don't pay business expenses from your personal bank account. Again, it makes it messy and it just complicates things when it comes to bookkeeping and doing your taxes. So don't do that. All you need to do is, once you set up your LLC, for example, your limited liability company, if you're LLC for your business, or even S corp, whatever the case may be for your entity, go to the bank take your articles of organization for the LLC or articles of corporation if you're a corporation, and then also take your EIN, your employer, your federal employer identification number, give that to the banker and say, I want to open a bank account. Some banks may say you may also need a business license, but it just depends on the bank and also the city, because some businesses may not need a business license. So just check with your bank and see what's required to open a bank account for your business. The fourth thing I see people do, this one I may lose a lot of people on this one, because folks, we love debt. Like America, we love debt, right? So I see clients, they'll start a business and they'll go get a loan to fund their business. And I'm like, why? Let me tell you my story. When I started my business with no debt. I've been in business for 5 years now, and I have no debt in my business. That frees me to spend money freely on things that I want to grow my business, opposed to just earning money and having to pay that money to a banker, right, or a lender. That's a problem. It drains your business finances if you have a loan. I know people tell you to use OPM, other people's money, all right, tell you to use somebody else's money to fund your business. But what if you're just getting started, you go into debt, I'm going to be the devil's advocate. And so you go start your med spa practice, right? Go in debt, you have no clients yet. You thought you would have some clients, but you're thinking about getting clients, you're going to anticipate getting clients, right? But no one comes, and you don't have a job. Your only source of income you thought would be your business, right? Then you got to pay that loan back. How you going to pay it back? Well, maybe go borrow money to pay your bills, pay that particular loan back. Again, even if you're making money, it's still a drain on your business finances. Again, I have clients that borrow money, and I tell them, like, they know my philosophy. I don't like debt, but I can't enforce what I follow my values on them. So I help them the best way I can, with the caveat of I hate debt. I don't recommend borrowing money in your business. But for most of you, you're going to borrow money. But I believe you can fund your business by paying clients. That's right. Use OPM, other people's money, but use it in a way that they're paying you money for your goods and services, right? Secondly, you can raise prices if you already have clients. Third way you can do that is if you have done services for your clients and they haven't paid you, go collect that money, all right? Go collect the money. So those are some ways that you can fund your business without going into debt. And number 5, I believe that this is something that a friend of mine told me about, and she went into business with a partner. And it was a friend of hers. Well, they went into business, and it didn't go well. In fact, the lady said that her and her lady weren't friends. I believe that's what she told me last time I talked to her. So don't go into business with a partner, because people are messy. You have messy books, and you have messy people. We all have our baggage in life, whether we're in business or employee. We have things, life happens. And some things may cause a wedge between you and your friend. And what if you're in business with your friend or your spouse or a coworker, whatever, you're trying to raise capital, you're trying to start a business, you have a business out there, you don't have the money, but someone else has the money, they're funded for you, you're working together, and then next thing you know, you're arguing, you're having a disagreement, and then one person wants out of the business, and then whatever, that person has divorced, and then they're stressed out, and all this stuff, life happens, right? So I recommend not going into business with a partner. Even if you have a great relationship with the person, I recommend if you're going to do a partnership, don't do one. I recommend hiring the person as a contractor to work for you as under those, like an independent contractor. That way, if that person wants to leave, he or she can leave with no string attached. They can start doing business with you, and it won't get messy. A partnership can get messy because, again, you have people involved, probably legal documents too if you set it up a certain way, and then it just puts a strain on your business. You're not focusing on serving clients. You're trying to get out of the mess, and just too much. So simplify your life by not going into business with a partner. I hope this episode was helpful to you. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Thank y'all for watching.